The Megalodon is often described as a gigantic shark, the largest ever known, and it faced many formidable foes. Most of these adversaries would avoid direct confrontation with the massive predator, yet they harbored a strong dislike for it. Could any of these ancient enemies still survive in the deep sea today? Here are the 15 largest enemies the Megalodon ever encountered. Number 15. Cedatherum. The Cedatherum, or whale beast, is believed to be one of the earliest members of the Cedatherum family, commonly referred to as baleen whales. These mammoth ocean dwellers were thought to have gone extinct during the Pliocene. In 2012, experts discovered that the pygmy right whale might be the sole surviving species of the Cedatherium's family. These predators had pointed teeth for catching and killing other marine creatures, such as fish and even other mammals, including large sharks like the Megalodon. Later, their feeding techniques diversified so they could take advantage of other food sources. They developed baleen to strain small organisms. Using this process, they were able to scoop in dense shoals of prey, including krill, copepods, small fish, and sometimes birds, together with large volumes of water. Experts believe that due to its dietary requirements, the whale would have spent most of its time close to the ocean surface and its main food source. Unfortunately, this spot in the ocean is considered dangerous, especially due to the gigantic predators lurking below. One of those predators was the Megalodon. Some fossils of these whales have shown compression damage to the vertebrae, which strongly suggests that these massive apex predators rammed into the belly of the whale at high speed, damaging the vertebrae. And we can only imagine what happened next. Number 14. Zyphoseteriforme. An extinct sperm whale that lived between 11.2 and 7.6 million years ago during the Tortonian age of the late Miocene, Zyphoseteriforme may have resembled the modern-day killer whale. It measured up to 7 meters, 23 feet, long, and was a member of a stem group of fossil macroraptorial sperm whales, including the enormous Livyatan. Like the Livyatan, the sperm whale had huge teeth, and unlike the modern sperm whale, these teeth were functional in both the upper and lower jaws, a fact I imagine these prehistoric giants found extremely handy, given the many other dangerous inhabitants in the ocean at that time. One of those was, of course, the Megalodon. Smaller than the Livyatan, the Zyphoseteriforme might have been no match for the massive Megalodon, but it was tougher than the sperm whales we see today. The sperm whales of yesteryear had a beak, which enabled them to detect objects in their environment by sense. They were also a lot faster than the modern-day sperm whale, which would have made capturing larger prey a little easier. The whale's feeding habits are like that of the killer whale, hence the resemblance and obvious connection. The male of the species, however, may have been significantly larger than the Zyphoseter, measuring up to 8 meters, 26 feet, long. Considering this sperm whale was half the size of the Megalodon at best, its only hope of survival would have been avoiding its razor-sharp teeth and incredible bite force. Number 13. Nthosaurus. Fossilized remains of this semi-oceanic reptile have been found throughout North Africa, southwestern and eastern Asia, and especially Europe. Experts believe the Nthosaurus lived approximately 210 to 240 million years ago during the Triassic period. This geologic period spanned 50.6 million years, from the end of the Permian period to the beginning of the Jurassic period. The Nthosaurus had a slender body, long neck and tail, and long limbs, and probably led a lifestyle like that of today's seals. Measuring between 4 and 7 meters long, these reptiles had long, webbed toes and probably a fin on their tail. Strong swimmers, they would use their tail, legs, and webbed feet to propel and steer them through the water. Terrestrial reptiles distantly related to lizards and snakes, Nthosaurus were calling the ocean home when the first dinosaurs were beginning to walk the earth. They were fish hunters and weren't fully adapted to life in the water. In fact, some had clawed feet, so they may have come ashore to rest. Their amazingly long and needle-sharp teeth would have made them quite the predator too, certainly not one to be messed with. Number 12. Brigopys. Better known as the biting sperm whale, Brigopys is part of the extinct toothed whale species. This species included the Acrophyseter, Livyatan, and Zyphoseter, and all had enamel-coated teeth in both their upper and lower jaws. Since Brigopys was published first, Naganocetus becomes a junior synonym. The skeleton of just one specimen of Brigopys has been found. After examining it, experts believe it may have existed around 14 to 15 million years ago, possibly the same time as the Megalodon. A mid-sized whale measuring just 7 meters, 23 feet at best, it would have been no match for the Megalodon. In fact, the Megalodon is believed to have been a specialist when it came to hunting and killing whales. I mean, it would take a fair amount of food to curb the huge beast's hunger, wouldn't you say? Still, the sperm whale was an apex predator of the time, with its large teeth used to catch and kill struggling prey, including other whales. Not much is known about its hunting behavior, but like other sperm whales, it may have been able to use echolocation to find its prey. Let's hope this beacon worked in reverse and warned them of approaching predators. Number 11. Livyatan. 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs became extinct. From then on, the biggest animals on Earth were confined to the ocean, with some of the largest aquatic creatures known to man lurking in the deep, dark depths. One of those was the Livyatan, an enormous prehistoric sperm whale said to rival the size of the star of the blockbuster The Meg. This whale measured 15 meters, 50 feet, long and weighed 50 tons. In comparison, the Megalodon is estimated to have measured up to 21 meters, 70 feet, long and weighed over 60 tons, so it was one monster shark. Experts believe that during the mid-Miocene epoch, these two behemoths briefly overlapped, meaning they shared the same territory. In fact, they may have even strayed into each other's waters, either accidentally or on purpose. Imagine the oceanic showdowns that could have taken place, with the Leviathan's massive jaws clashing against the Megalodon's serrated teeth in a battle for dominance. The water would churn with power as these giants circled each other, each testing the other's strength and cunning. Perhaps their encounters became the stuff of legend, inspiring ancient tales passed down through generations. Could you imagine? A 3-meter, 10-foot, long skull of the giant sperm whale was found in Peru in 2008. The find confirmed the existence of the enormous prehistoric beast that may have been behind the story of Moby Dick. Whether that's true, we may never know, but the prehistoric giant is said to have spent a good portion of its life around the coasts of South America, where it possibly had the occasional scrap with a megalodon. Apparently, its teeth were longer and thicker than those of the enormous shark, and it had a bigger brain. So, in a battle of wits, the Leviathan might have come out on top. Who knows? Now it's time for today's topic. During a recent operation in the middle of the Indian Ocean, the South African Navy captured a moment that has left experts and the public stunned. The mission, aimed at investigating a tourist yacht suspected of narcotics smuggling, involved the use of an advanced surveillance drone. While scanning the waters, the drone accidentally filmed a massive creature breaching the surface for just a moment. At first, the crew dismissed it as a whale and continued their mission. However, upon reviewing the footage later, they realized the creature was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its body was massive, with jagged fins and a tail that seemed far too powerful for any known marine animal. The footage has sparked wild speculation, with some suggesting it could be a predator from the Megalodon era, possibly one of the ancient shark's long-lost enemies. Marine biologists are analyzing the footage, but the creature's identity remains a mystery. Could this be evidence that prehistoric giants still roam the depths of our oceans? Or is it simply a misidentified species? For now, the discovery raises more questions than answers, leaving the world to wonder what other ancient secrets the ocean might still be hiding. Number 10. Elophoceter. A predatory sperm whale, the Elophoceter is believed to have called the ocean home in the Miocene period 6 million years ago. Now extinct, the Elophoceter's distant relatives have some of the same characteristics. It's likely, however, that they probably had a more diverse diet. The Elophoceter is believed to have reached lengths of approximately 6 meters long and weighed up to 400 pounds. Predominantly carnivore, it bore a striking resemblance to the Erychterocetus, a member of the Physeteroidea superfamily, closely related to a group of whales including the sperm, pygmy, and dwarf sperm whale. Imagine pods of Elophoceter navigating the ancient seas, their clicks and calls echoing through the water as they hunted in coordinated groups. Some scientists speculate that these whales may have used deep-diving tactics to ambush squid and fish, plunging into the darkness where few predators dared to follow. There are even theories that Elophoceter could have engaged in fierce underwater battles, ramming rivals or defending their young from lurking threats. The ocean at that time was a place of constant danger, with shadows of giant sharks and other marine monsters always nearby. The life of an Elophoceter was likely a thrilling mix of teamwork, cunning, and the ever-present need to avoid becoming prey themselves. The Elophoceter is said to have inhabited the west and east coasts of North America, as well as the Patagonian region of South America, and may have migrated through the Central American Seaway. Fossil evidence suggests the whale may have even met one of the main predators of the Miocene period, the Megalodon. The giant prehistoric shark would have made quite the opponent for the significantly smaller Elophoceter. However, both may not have survived dropping sea levels and the resulting closure of the Central American Seaway. As sea levels dropped, the Isthmus of Panama was created, effectively sealing off the migratory route between North and South America, effectively killing many species of prehistoric whales and the predators that preyed on them, including the Megalodon. Number 9. Thalassomodon. This long-necked marine reptile is among the largest elasmosaurid plesiosaurs. Fossils suggest that the average Thalassomodon measured over 10.5 meters, 35 feet, long, but a larger skull of the species has some reaching up to 11.5 meters, 38 feet. Its long neck comprises 62 vertebrae and measures a whopping 5.8 meters, 19 feet, over half the reptile's total length. This reptile is believed to have inhabited the western interior seaway, a Cretaceous sea that divided North and South America. Picture the Thalassomedon gliding silently through the ancient waters, its neck weaving gracefully as it hunted for unsuspecting prey. Some paleontologists imagine it lurking in the shadows, using its long neck to dart into schools of fish without disturbing the water. There are even theories that it could have used its impressive reach to snatch birds or pterosaurs resting on the surface, pulling them under in a sudden, dramatic splash. The sight of such a creature must have been both mesmerizing and terrifying for anything sharing its domain. In the twilight depths, its silhouette would have looked like a living serpent, winding through the currents in search of its next meal. Experts have found that the Thalassomedon lived in the early stages of the Late Cretaceous period, and may have become extinct due to the new rise of predators, including the mosasaurs. These large marine reptiles may have evolved from an extinct group of aquatic lizards. The smallest measures less than 1 meter, 3.3 feet, long. However, the largest specimen, nicknamed Bruce, reached just over 13 meters, 43 feet. Apex predators like the Tylosaurus and the Megalodon, too, would have caused problems for the Thalassomedon, including competition for existing fish stocks. With the increasing danger of bigger and better predators, life for the Thalassomedon can't have been easy. Number 8. Titanoboa. To the untrained eye, this gigantic prehistoric monster looks a little like Nagini, the snake Harry Potter set free in the Goblet of Fire. Nagini was a caramel Burmese python, whereas this gigantic snake is the Titanoboa, or Titanic boa, one of the largest and most dangerous snakes to have ever inhabited the earth. Female Titanoboas do not mother their children. To give you some comparison, if the extinct Megalodon shark and this massive snake were to cross paths, the shark might just come off second best. Imagine the murky swamps and ancient rivers where the Titanoboa slithered, its massive coils gliding silently through the water, sending ripples across the surface. Some scientists speculate that it could ambush even the largest crocodiles of its time, wrapping around them with crushing power. There are tales of entire herds of prehistoric mammals vanishing overnight, their only clue a trail of flattened reeds and a lingering sense of dread. The Titanoboa's scales would shimmer in the dappled sunlight, making it nearly invisible until it struck. In a world where survival meant outsmarting or overpowering the next predator, the Titanoboa reigned supreme in its domain. Now that's impressive, given the Megalodon is estimated to have measured between 12 and 18 meters, 40 and 60 feet, long. In contrast, the Titanoboa grew to a maximum of 12.8 meters, 42 feet, long and weighed almost a ton. Titanoboa fossils indicate it lived during the Middle to Late Paleocene epoch, around 58 to 60 million years ago. The Megalodon is believed to have existed during the early Miocene to the Pliocene period, approximately 23 to 3.6 million years ago. As a carnivore, the Titanoboa is considered one of the biggest and most dangerous enemies of the prehistoric shark in the world. The giant snake was a lot sneakier than a shark, using its camouflage skills to hide and then strike its prey without warning. With a bite force of 11 to 18 tons, the snake was also a force to be reckoned with. But we all know the Megalodon was no slouch either. Just like its relative, the great white, one bite from one of these guys can be fatal. Number 7. Giant octopus. This enormous aquatic creature is believed to have lived many millions of years ago before the Pleistocene age and featured in the 2009 Asylum film Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. The movie title itself gives some indication of the relationship between these two, with the Megalodon and the giant octopus considered mortal enemies. Could you imagine this pair roaming the deep, dark depths of the ocean all those years ago? Legends say that when the moon was full, the ocean would tremble as these two titans clashed beneath the waves, their battles sending shockwaves through the water. Sailors whispered tales of whirlpools and monstrous shadows, claiming to have seen tentacles as thick as tree trunks wrapping around the jaws of a shark the size of a bus. Some even believed that the storms that battered ancient ships were the result of these epic underwater duels. The sea, already a place of mystery and fear, became even more terrifying in the minds of those who heard these stories. It's no wonder that the myth of the giant octopus has persisted for centuries, fueling nightmares and inspiring countless sea monster tales. The exact species of octopus that this giant belongs to is unknown, but it has experts believing it was a sea monster of sorts. Several carcasses of the unidentified giant have been discovered, including one that was given the name St. Augustine monster. Described as globsters, they are not to be confused with the known giant Pacific octopus. The Pacific octopus can grow to lengths of up to 6 meters, 20 feet, and the giant octopus is said to be even larger. We could only imagine how a real-life matchup between the Megalodon and the massive octopus would play out, but you can bet it would include a splattering of ink. The giant octopus squirts at its enemies as a defense mechanism, creating a cloud in the water that heavily hampers visibility. No doubt a handy tool for an octopus trying to escape, wouldn't you say? Number 6. Orca, the killer whale. The killer whale, or orca as it is commonly known, is the largest member of the oceanic dolphin family. The star of the hit movie Free Willy, the orca is an iconic species that is frequently a popular performer in live shows at marine parks. It's also classified as an apex predator, sitting at the top of the ocean's food chain. Expert hunters with excellent eyesight and hearing, the orca is not preyed on by any other animal. It is one of 35 species in the oceanic dolphin family and first appeared about 11 million years ago in the Neogene period. Orcas are famous for their complex social structures, living in pods that can number from a handful to over 40 individuals. These pods often develop unique hunting techniques, passing them down through generations like family secrets. Some orca groups have even been observed working together to create waves that wash seals off ice floes, showcasing their intelligence and teamwork. Their vocalizations are equally impressive, with each pod having its own dialect of clicks and whistles. This level of communication and cooperation makes orcas some of the most sophisticated hunters in the sea. The Miocene was the first geological epoch of this period, and if the history books are correct, the Megalodon also roamed the ocean at this time. Whether these two met is a question only they can answer, but you can bet it would have been a battle of wits rather than of power. A male orca can weigh as much as 5,400 kilograms and measure 9.6 meters, 32 feet, long, but the Megalodon was believed to be larger, possibly measuring between 20 and 25 meters, 66 to 82 feet, long and weighing in at a whopping 93,000 kilograms, 205,000 pounds. If that's true, then the Megalodon could have been bigger than the blue whale. Now that's an opponent no animal in their right mind should take on, least of all the orca, don't you think? Number 5. Dunkleistus. An extinct armored-jawed fish of the placodermi family, the Dunkleistus flourished in the Devonian period before their sudden extinction. These fish survived a massive 50 million years, and it's no surprise given their impressive armor. I mean, these fascinating creatures probably wouldn't have been out of place on a medieval battlefield. That's how much armor they had. Large bony plates covered most of their enormous body, a body that measured up to 8.8 meters, 28.8 feet, long and weighed over a ton. Their bite, too, was a force to be reckoned with. Fossil evidence suggests that Dunkleistus was not only a top predator but also a bit of a cannibal, with bite marks found on the bones of its own kind. Some paleontologists believe it could open its jaws in just a fraction of a second, creating a powerful suction to pull in prey. Its armored head and jaw structure made it nearly invulnerable to attacks from other predators of its time. Imagine the underwater clashes between two Dunkleistus, their armored plates scraping and jaws snapping in a prehistoric showdown. Even with all that protection, life in the Devonian seas was anything but peaceful, with constant battles for dominance. The Dunkleistus had two sets of fang-like protrusions near the front of their powerful, self-sharpening jawbones and a bite force of 80,000 pounds per square inch, making it quite the opponent for the Megalodon. Its bite force was estimated at between 110,000 to 180,000 pounds per square inch. Once found in the ancient abyss, the Dunkleistus is a large carnivorous fish that may have had the occasional sparring match with the Megalodon. How that played out, I guess we'll never know, but you can guarantee it would have been a tough battle for both parties. Number 4. Lion's mane jellyfish. What looks like a bunch of hair floating around the ocean is a jellyfish, the lion's mane jellyfish to be exact. Often referred to as simply the giant jellyfish or hair jelly, it is the biggest living jellyfish in the world, stretching a whopping 36.5 meters, 120 feet, from the top to the bottom of its tentacles. Up to 2.4 meters, 8 feet, wide. This is the world's largest jellyfish. Now that's impressive. The dense mass of long, dangling tentacles resembles a lion's mane, hence the name. In the cold, dark waters where it thrives, the lion's mane jellyfish can look almost ghostly, glowing faintly as it drifts through the currents. Some divers have described the experience of swimming near one as like floating through a living chandelier, with delicate filaments trailing in every direction. Despite their beauty, these jellyfish are not to be underestimated. Several small fish and even other jellyfish can become entangled in their tentacles, paralyzed by the potent sting. Occasionally, sea turtles will brave the stinging tentacles for a meal, seemingly immune to the venom. There are even stories of large swarms of lion's mane jellyfish washing up on beaches, creating a surreal and slightly alarming sight for anyone nearby. Not only is it believed to be the longest and biggest jellyfish known to man, the jellyfish is also a contender for the longest animal of all time, even longer than the blue whale and the prehistoric Megalodon. Both are believed to measure around 25 meters, 82 feet, long, so they fall well short of this giant jellyfish. Their huge tentacles are also extremely dangerous, particularly given that they would be pretty hard to avoid. It uses these for capturing, pulling in, and feeding on prey and for protection. The giant jellyfish is also capable of delivering quite the sting if provoked. The sting isn't believed to be fatal, but the temporary pain would be enough to put most predators off, wouldn't you say? They can have up to 1,200 tentacles. These are divided into 8 clusters, and provides the jellyfish with quite the weapon cabinet. Imagine encountering just one of those tentacles, let alone several at once. Ouch. Number 3. Rhamphosukis. The Rhamphosukis, which I couldn't find out how to pronounce anywhere, is thought to have been one of the prehistoric Megalodon shark's many enemies. Experts believe it resembled the modern-day false gharial, a freshwater crocodilian that is part of the Gavialidae family, commonly known as the beak crocodile. The Rhamphosukis lived during the Miocene period. Fossils found in the Siwalik Hills of Pakistan and India, as well as the Sindh region of Pakistan, have paleontologists estimating it was one of the largest crocodilians that ever lived, measuring almost 18 meters, 60 feet, long and weighing up to 20 tons. The Rhamphosukis would have made quite the opponent for the Megalodon. Imagine the epic underwater battles that could have taken place between these two giants, with massive jaws snapping and tails thrashing in the murky depths. Some scientists speculate that Rhamphosukis may have ventured into brackish or coastal waters, increasing the chances of a dramatic encounter with the Megalodon. Its sheer size and power would have made it a formidable force, capable of defending itself against even the most fearsome predators. There are even theories that these crocodilians may have hunted in groups, using coordinated attacks to overwhelm their prey. The idea of a pack of Rhamphosukis taking on a Megalodon is both terrifying and fascinating. In fact, it would have been more than just a thorn in the giant shark's side, given it was pretty much the same size, and we all know how vicious these reptiles can be, even the prehistoric ones. Compared to modern-day crocs, the Rhamphosukis had a thinner and longer snout, but their teeth arrangement was pretty much the same. Rhamphosukis are believed to have mainly eaten fish, and not the small ones either. Due to their size, these large reptiles would have had no issue capturing and devouring larger prey. Perhaps even the Megalodon could have been on the menu, who knows? Number 2. The giant oceanic manta ray. The manta ray is the world's biggest ray, with the giant oceanic manta ray the heftiest. From wingtip to wingtip, it can measure 7 meters, 23 feet, and weigh as much as 2 tons. The reef manta isn't a lot smaller either. Fortunately, their immense size is a bit of a turn-off for most predators, except, of course, large sharks and orcas. These are known to hunt the docile plankton eaters and may have been joined by the Megalodon at some point. Despite their gentle nature, manta rays are surprisingly agile, able to execute sharp turns and sudden dives to evade threats. Divers often describe the experience of swimming alongside a manta as almost otherworldly, with their graceful movements resembling underwater flight. Some cultures even consider mantas to be symbols of protection and good luck, a testament to their mysterious presence in the ocean. Scientists have discovered that mantas possess the largest brain-to-body ratio of any fish, hinting at a level of intelligence that might help them outwit predators. Their social behavior is also fascinating, as they sometimes gather in large groups to feed or visit cleaning stations where smaller fish remove parasites from their skin. The giant oceanic manta ray is believed to have evolved about 20 million years ago, so the possibility of these two giants meeting up somewhere in the middle of the ocean isn't as far-fetched as you might think. I mean, the Megalodon lived approximately 3.6 to 23 million years ago, so if the history books are accurate, they were both roaming the ocean together at one point. How the altercation would have played out is anyone's guess, but the giant manta wouldn't have made things easy. In fact, it's highly possible it would have pulled a disappearing act. Yes, the manta is known for disappearing in the face of danger at speeds of up to 24 kilometers, 15 miles, an hour. Impressive, don't you think? Can you imagine hanging out in an all-you-can-eat buffet and someone swoops in and eats all the goodies? That would be annoying, wouldn't it? Number 1. Great white shark. When it comes to sea creatures, few strike fear in humans more than the great white shark, the ultimate predator of the seas. It measures between 4.5 and 6 meters, 15 and 20 feet, long and generally weighs up to 2,300 kilograms, 5,000 pounds. Made famous on the big screen back in 1975 when we were introduced to Jaws, this huge shark has gained quite the reputation for being a vicious predator. Experts believe it's a reputation they may not deserve. They're not actually a mindless killing machine, but they do tend to attack first and ask questions later, which isn't exactly helpful. In reality, great whites are highly intelligent and curious, often investigating unfamiliar objects with gentle bites, rather than outright aggression. Some divers have even reported moments of calm, face-to-face encounters with these sharks, describing a sense of awe rather than terror. Despite their fearsome image, great whites play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems by keeping prey populations in check. Their hunting strategies are surprisingly sophisticated, involving stealth, patience, and bursts of incredible speed. Even so, the sight of that iconic dorsal fin slicing through the water is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. What also doesn't help is the fact that they have 300 triangular, serrated teeth that can tear through flesh in the blink of an eye. Also known as the white pointer, The great white is a species of large mackerel shark and inhabits the coastal surface waters of all major oceans. They normally swim at speeds of up to 25 kilometers, 16 miles, per hour, but can reach almost 60 kilometers, 37 miles, per hour in short bursts. So outswimming one is clearly not an option. The earliest known fossils of these sharks are about 16 million years old, which means they existed during the mid-Miocene epoch. This fact has them possibly going fin to fin with the Megalodon, which lived during the early Miocene to the Pliocene. I wonder how that meeting played out. Back in the days when Megalodon dominated the oceans, life was very different. These massive predators weren't exactly popular among other sea creatures, and they actually had more rivals than you might expect. As true apex predators, they reigned supreme at the top of the food chain. If you enjoyed learning about them, be sure to explore more of our fascinating content now showing on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.